69-year-old Christine Rawle had murdered her husband of 27 years by stabbing the 72-year-old Ian Rawle in the back and then pulling out the blade and leaving him to die in the stable on their property in the village of Knowle. In court, a judge heard that Christine and Ian survived their marriage by bickering, insulting, calling the police and sometimes even striking each other. It was their coping mechanism, whether that was right or wrong. In 1996, police were called to the couple's home after Christine had stabbed Ian in the arm. In separate events, Christine had also filled Ian's car with water. She also ragged Ian's ex-wife by the hair when they first started their relationship. Things were intense, but by the downfall of the relationship, things were deplorable. She also confided with family that she hated Ian and wiped her bum with his ties. Now, Ian was no saint. It was alleged by Christine's son that he had witnessed Ian strike his mum. His also GUN license was revoked because the police were concerned by the way Ian would act with the general public. Now, Ian was sullen. He was devoid of emotion or conversation, apart from his outburst of anger to his wife, whom he called fat and lazy, and he was rude to neighbours, so much so that he was known in the village as D-Head. Now, Christine says Ian often messed with her car as a sign of affection because he was a fixer. However, he caused more problems. The relationship in court was described as complex, unhappy, and often ugly. Neither person knew how to leave the marriage. They were dependent on each other, specifically financial. They were summed up as the Twits, Roald Dahl characters. Now, the marriage reached a tragic end when Christine stabbed Ian on their property at 17 minutes past 2 in the afternoon on August 21st, 2021. Christine had been sleeping separately from Ian, staying in a converted outbuilding for weeks on end. On the date of the murder, Ian was pushing a wheelbarrow on their 20 acres worth of land, worth £800,000. Ian was going to clean up the muck heap. Now, early that morning, Christine had messaged her daughter saying her health was deteriorating and, in part, Ian wouldn't allow her to go ahead with a deal on a piece of land that she wanted to sell in order to finance private eye surgery. In another message, Christine wrote, "I hope the CUN dies." She also commented on the doom and gloom of everything and how her health was not getting any better. Ian had told Christine to pick up a blade that was used to prep the horse's food and make a tie for the gate. Christine picked up the blade, but she was also on the phone to her daughter at the time. The blade was 12 centimetres, and then she plunged it into Ian's back with such force that it cut a rib. Instead of calling police, Christine then decided to call a friend and ask them, "Please, can you look after my animals on the property and make sure the dogs are always safe?" Ian in the meantime was heard in the background moaning and crying out in agony, crawling, following his wife for 100 yards, telling her to please remove the blade and please get help. Christine refused. In court, Christine explained her actions were a result of having to live with such a horrible person who subjected her to a lot of things. In the weeks prior to the Christine had called 101 on 2 separate occasions. The calls were never answered, so when police arrived at the address, she made reference to this. Now, Christine was found guilty of murder and she was jailed for life with a minimum term of 17 years. Christine did have to undergo evaluation, and it was said that she suffered from serious self-depreciation and depression. She also had an affinity of wanting to be treated a certain way and maintain a certain lifestyle, but would constantly be met with disappointment when her expectations were not met. Now, Christine often says that she was not ladylike. She was more of the stereotypical male, so much so that when her grandfather was on his dying bed and asked her to hold his hand, she says, "You've got to be kidding me." In court, it was also noted that Christine did eventually pull the blade out of Ian's back, but what she did was she kicked it under a stable's door, left him to die right there, and that's when she dialed 999. Condolences. Stay safe. Safe.